Up next on the Q30 Newscast, we have the newest numbers of COVID-19 cases on campus.
Plus, students protested today on the steps of the library in response to President Olian's email.
And the latest news on Quinnipiac's return to campus this spring semester. This and more on the Q30 Newscast. Good evening, Bobcats. We're back with another full newscast for you all. I'm Vanessa Blasi.
And I'm Jennifer Cuevas. We have a lot of content tonight, so let's go ahead and get started. Quinnipiac is dealing with more than one prominent issue on campus. On October 20th, President Julie Olian sent an email to the student body addressing the bullying of an LGBTQ student on campus. Hannah Mirsky and Dory McDaniels have more on this unacceptable incident.
A first-year student is leaving Quinnipiac after a series of homophobic hate incidents from students living in his residence hall. The student's mother posted on Quinnipiac's parent page on Sunday informing the community of what was going on with her son.
Baby powder and trash were thrown at his door, while students continuously banged on his door throughout the day. His mom said these incidents have been going on for the past months.
The Title IX coordinator, Don Sawyer, and the Chief Experience Officer, Tom Ellett, were both only made aware of this incident on Friday evening.
It wasn't just an incident that occurred out of nowhere. It has been going on all semester. This student reached out to their RA and to other people, and nothing was done about the situation.
Gender and Sexuality Alliance, a student organization that provides a safe haven for Quinnipiac students in the LGBTQ+ community, was appalled.
GSA was shocked by this and could not believe this happened on our campus, and immediately knew we had to do something to create a change for students.
A petition was created outlining a plan of tangible changes that need to be made on campus for the LGBTQ+ community. The petition already has over 1,500 signatures. An email from President Julie Olian was sent to students saying such behavior is aberrant and degrades the values of their institution, but students did not take kindly to the email.
A common theme with these emails where it's a lot of talking and it's not a lot of concrete action or any hope for the students. I think it was a reaction, but it wasn't a positive reaction because still there's no specific plans to protect students on campus.
Within the next few days, students will continue to speak up as they wait for an updated response from administration. I'm Hannah Mirsky, reporting for Q.
In the latest update of confirmed positive cases on campus, the university confirmed 3 new cases as of October 16th. 2 of the cases were off-campus students, and the other is an on-campus residential student. There are also a total of 8 number of active cases in isolation. Students who tested positive must quarantine for 14 days. Quinnipiac has not made any changes to class schedules for the remainder of the semester, and the COVID tracker remains at a low to moderate risk of the coronavirus on campus. And a Chartwell's dining employee has also tested positive for COVID-19, according to an email sent yesterday by David Hill, a member of the COVID task force on campus. The employee's last work shift was on October 17th and has not been back on campus since, as he is currently isolating at home. The email also states the employee, who is not named, was not serving food at the York Hill Cafe that day. Therefore, he did not come into contact with students, faculty, or staff.
In response to the homophobic incident, students gathered outside of the Quinnipiac Library earlier today, protesting the university's lack of effective response towards homophobia. Participants of the protest stressed that addressing this issue via email is not enough. Students are not only hoping to raise awareness towards this issue, but also demand further action be taken. Interim Chief of Public Safety, James Neely's last day will be on November 6th. He will be taking on the role of Assistant Chief of Public Safety at the University of Hartford. Neely has worked at Quinnipiac since 2013 when he joined Public Safety as Assistant Chief. During his last 5 months, he served as a member of the university's COVID-19 task force and co-chair of the Emergency Management Committee. Neely has been in the position for less than a year and will be replaced by Don DiStefano. In an email sent out by Tom Ellett, he said, DiStefano will manage the department while a search is conducted for someone new to fill Neely's spot. Looking ahead at next semester, Quinnipiac Provost Dr. Leibowitz sent an email last Friday regarding plan for spring semester. Anticipating full return to campus, Quinnipiac will continue using the QFlex model with a combination of online and in-person classes. Additionally, spring break has been canceled to minimize the chances of spreading COVID-19. In place of spring break, Quinnipiac has designated self-care days in which no classes will be held.
QU School of Nursing implemented a program which aims to help senior citizens stay safe and healthy during these pandemic times. The program is called the Geriatric Outreach Program and was created by Clinical Assistant Professor of Nursing, Erica Mumm, along with her students. Planning for the program began during the summer with 7 volunteer students making phone calls to members of the Sullivan Senior Center to check on their health and monitor any COVID-related symptoms. Student involvement has increased from 7 to 50 volunteers.
When we think about seniors and what they depend on for social interaction, which is primarily based through senior centers, and knowing that those senior centers are closed, that was a really clear sign that said, where do these seniors now go for their social interaction, and what type of concerns might be coming from the senior center shutting down. So that was really the spark to moving forward with
Q Month and History Month. Quinnipiac kicked off the celebration with a screening of Marsha P. Johnson. Johnson was an American gay liberation activist and self-identified drag queen. Pascal Jean Jacques, Associate Director for Multicultural Education, says this month serves as a way for students who identify as LGBTQ to feel more engaged.
People feel really engaged during these months, but I think that folks can also think about the ways in which they're creating equitable spaces for LGBTQ folks in various areas, right? So beyond, wearing a pin and beyond saying you went to this program, what are things that people are doing to create a more inclusive environment?
If you're looking for fun ways to exercise, Connecticut will be holding its first collegiate virtual 5K run from Thursday to Sunday. Runners with the best school spirit and Halloween costume will be awarded prizes, so don't forget to use #BobcatRun and #CTRunsTogether on Instagram. Cost for registration is $15, which will include a t-shirt, your own personalized race bib, and a finisher certificate. Coming up after this short break, learn about NASA's new successful mission.
Plus, find out what major company is being sued. But first, Melanie Carreri gives us a sneak peek at the 3-day weather forecast.
Thanks, Vanessa and Jennifer. So today we had a beautiful fall day with a high of 71 and a low of 58 with partly cloudy skies. And tomorrow and Friday we'll be seeing a similar pattern with partly cloudy skies as well. Tomorrow we'll be having a high of 74, low of 57. And then Friday we'll be seeing a high of 65 and a low of 54. But I will have more on this week's weather for you after the short break.
Hey, let's check out this park. Wow, that's really cool. To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
Thanks for sticking with us.
Nicole McIsaac has this and more on national news this week. Nicole, take it away.
Thank you, Jennifer and Vanessa. To start off national news today, the Justice Department announced yesterday that it will be suing Google for major antitrust violations. The company has allegedly abused its dominance in advertising agreements and operations through its web browser. The lawsuit follows a year-long investigation into the tech giant and has captures everyone's attention as one of the most significant conflicts between the government and a web company in decades. Google allegedly has unlawfully paid phone carrier companies and other web browsers to make themselves the present default search engine on those platforms. According to Associate Deputy Attorney General and Senior Advisor for Technology Industries Ryan Shores, Google currently accounts for 80% of general searches in the United States as a result of its anti-competitive practices. Google responded to the lawsuit saying that it is deeply flawed and will do nothing to help consumers. A number of states have been signing off to be plaintiffs for the case. A NASA mission that has been in development for 10 years and has launched in 2016 successfully collected a sample of asteroids yesterday evening. This touch-and-go sample collection was the first type of mission that NASA has completed. Richard Binzel, an investigator on the mission, says that this is monumental because, quote, asteroids are the leftover pieces of how planets are formed, and so we're going back and sampling the original ingredient for life on Earth, end quote. Prior to this historical mission, Japan was the only country to have successfully obtained an asteroid sample. Now they are focused on getting that sample back. NASA has until 2023 to get the sample back to their laboratories. George Floyd's memorial is at stake as Minneapolis leaders push to reopen the intersection where he originally died. City leaders want to remove the barriers for vehicle use, as well as to help boost local businesses and to address the exponential growth of crime rate in the area. Many local residents are now worried that the removal of the memorial will only remind community members of how calls for injustice and police reform continue to go unanswered. This comes on the heels of a grand juror on Breonna Taylor's case releasing a statement that the grand jury was never given an opportunity to further discuss homicide charges as a possibility against police officers involved in the shooting. The Minneapolis Council Committee considered two proposals today that would reopen the intersection but keep the location of Floyd's direct death closed off from vehicle traffic. Quinnipiac is holding a virtual webinar this upcoming Tuesday with George Floyd's family in attendance to discuss the shockwaves of his death and the change that they hope to see. That's all I have for you guys today. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Nicole. The Student Government Association announced Monday morning that they will be relaunching Bobcat of the Month to celebrate students across campus. For those who don't know, Bobcat of the Month winners can receive a $250 bookstore credit, as well as other possible prizes. Nominations will open on October 29th at 5 p.m. The winner must demonstrate excellence and be chosen among other nominees by the Student Government Public Relations Committee.
I wonder if the nominees will be neck to neck like our current presidential candidates.
Me too. I know millions of Americans have voted in the election so far, and Kay Pattyfoot has the details.
What gives me hope that things may get better someday is that Gen Z, I think, is not willing to accept things as they are.
With only 13 days left until Election Day, the hope is every American is exercising their right to vote.
No matter where you are, there is something that you can vote for where your vote counts a lot, you know, whether it's the president if you're in Pennsylvania, or whether it's a state senate or state house seat, or, you know, a mayoral seat.
With the pandemic still going on, people still plan to vote.
I'm voting in person. I have absolute faith in the process of absentee voting or mail-in voting, but I'm looking forward to casting my vote, of actually going in on the day.
Tufts University Center for Information and Research on Civic Learning and Engagement reported in August that voter registration for 18 through 24-year-olds were already higher in many states than it was in November 2016.
I would assume there's going to be a lot more votes this year than 2016.
Professor Pelto says that this is a very important election.
Way that the things have developed during the Trump era and the stark choice between one path and the other is probably a more important divergence than we have seen maybe ever.
Quinnipiac students who wish to vote in Hamden have until October 27th to register. For Q30 News,
All eyes are certainly on the upcoming presidential election, and there's lots to discuss about politics tonight.
Skylar Haynes has our news from Connecticut to D.C. and to the global stage. Skylar?
That's right, Jennifer. Connecticut was divided and upset over the state's projected budget deficit for this fiscal year. However, Governor Ned Lamont has now reported that after better than expected tax collections and an extension of enhanced Medicaid reimbursement through the spring, the state has now reduced its deficit by more than $763 million. While this decrease adds up to an over 40% cut, the budget shortfall still stands at about $1.2 billion after the pandemic drove an increase in the already high Connecticut deficit. Governor Lamont's administration is linking the increased revenue to gains in the stock market and pent-up consumer demand after quarantine, although they are unsure at this time if they can continue to count on this with COVID-19 cases surging across the state. With less than 2 weeks to the election, the race is on for the GOP to confirm Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court. The Senate plans to vote on Monday. Barrett's nomination to the Supreme Court and the uproar around her hearings has now prompted former members of her faith group, known as the People of Praise, to speak out about abuse. The group, which Barrett has been a lifelong member of, along with her family, has a history of emotional trauma and sexual abuse allegations. Former members have made it clear that they are concerned that, quote, too little is understood about the community of People of Praise ahead of Barrett's expected confirmation, end quote. During the hearings last week, People of Praise or the pending investigation into the abuse was not addressed. Barrett has also never listed her involvement with the group in Senate disclosure forms, but continues to say that her faith will not interfere with her job if confirmed. The streets of Nigeria nationwide have remained full with protesters demanding the end to police brutality and demonstrating against the history of violence and corruption in the government. In the city of Lagos, the government declared a 24-hour curfew yesterday, announcing that all protesters would have to be home by 4 p.m. local time. They then later added that the enforcement of the curfew should not begin until 9 p.m. As the sun was setting on protesters at the iconic Lakey Bridge, uniformed security forces opened fire. While there are no official reports of how many were wounded or killed, Amnesty International said today that they have received credible reports that there were deaths. The protest began almost 2 weeks ago as a call to disband SARS, Nigeria's notorious police unit, and just a day into the youth on the streets, the government ordered an end to the unit. But even with this seeming success, protesters remained worried that they are not gone, but simply rebranded. And after the shooting yesterday and gunshots still being heard across the country, they are demanding a more systemic change. Back to you, Jennifer and Vanessa, at the desk.
Thanks, Skylar. With only 2 weeks left, the presidential election is really heating up.
And after the break, Melanie Carreri will give us the full weather forecast for this upcoming week. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Thanks for sticking with us, Bobcats. Melanie Carreri has our weather forecast for the week. Melanie, what's the weather like?
Thanks, Vanessa and Jennifer. So starting off on Monday, or Wednesday, we have a high of 71, low of 58. Thursday, we have a nice fall day with partly sunny skies, high of 74, low of 57. And then Friday, we have a great start to the weekend with a high of 65 and a low of 54 with partly cloudy skies. Then unfortunately, moving to the weekend, we get slightly more cloudy skies, but luckily no rain. Starting with a high of 67 and a low of 40. But then Sunday, we start to see that sun peeking out again. So, but it is going to be 55, so you should maybe bundle up a little bit more, but it's still a great day for some apple picking if you want to experience a nice fall day. And then Monday, on the start of the week, we see that Monday and Tuesday we'll be getting some rain, and Monday we'll have a high of 63 and a low of 56. And then Tuesday we'll be seeing similarly a high of 63 and a low of 42. So you better take out those raincoats and rain boots. Moving on to Connecticut, in Torrington there's 65 degrees, Hartford is 66, Norwich we have 65 degrees, Danbury 63. Then moving on more to the Long Island Sound, we have New Haven with 66 degrees, and then New London is 64 degrees. That's all I have. Back to you, Vanessa and Jennifer at the desk.
Thanks, Melanie. Eli's on Whitney's, a popular restaurant in Hamden, is temporarily closed and reopening today. After an employee tested positive for the coronavirus, the restaurant closed for 5 days to thoroughly sanitize contact surfaces and perform necessary COVID tests. After successfully taking these safety precautions, they are now open for business.
And the Community Keep Center is asking for volunteers to help distribute food and fill up their pantry during these difficult times brought on by the pandemic.
I believe how
Here's what Isaiah Lopez, the Community
I believe
Service
how
Coordinator,
COVID
had
has
to say.
affected, the residents and the population that we serve. A lot of them are now on furlough, laid off, either underemployed, their hours got cut, or some of them were receiving unemployment, and unemployment has ended, because here it is, we're already 9 months in. Some individuals are needing daycare, child care services that they're unable to either pay or can't afford it. So we see.
We shared some upsetting news about a baby who was dumped in a dumpster and found in a dumpster. Thankfully, the baby is live and well. The 8-month-old baby was released yesterday from Yale New Haven Children's Hospital to family members who declined to speak to reporters, according to WTNH. She is still recovering from the burn injuries, and New Haven police will continue to investigate the cause of her injuries. We have exciting news in store after this short break.
That's right. Stick with us to learn about possible reboots and reunions happening for one of your favorite TV shows and movies.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. This is unacceptable, and something Feeding America is working to solve. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States, including yours. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly.
Lights out.
And put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
I love catching up with my favorite series and throwback shows. I can't wait to hear what reboots are in the works.
I agree. Let's turn it over to Laura for more details.
Thank you, Vanessa and Jennifer. A lot has been going on in the entertainment industry. Let's take a look. Let's get right into it. First up, Jamie Lynn Spears took to Instagram on Monday to tease a Zoe 101 reboot. The show originally aired on Nickelodeon in 2005 and ran for 4 seasons until the young star became pregnant. Many fans of the show were excited about the reboot, but disappointed to find out that some TikTok stars would be joining the cast. Spears has some major plans that revolve around her Nickelodeon character, the first being the release of a new version of the show's theme song, Follow Me, this week. Speaking of reboots, Bette Midler posted a photo on Instagram giving fans a sneak peek into the highly anticipated Hocus Pocus reunion. The 3 Sanderson sisters will reconnect virtually for one night only. The event, entitled In Search of the Sanderson Sisters, a Hocus Pocus Halloween takeover, will take place on October 30th, featuring many celebrities. Tickets for the show cost $10 and 100% of the profits go towards the New York Restoration Project, an organization which Bette Midler started many years ago. That's all I have for you guys today. Back to you at the desk.
With the ongoing pandemic, the town of Hamden is seeing an increase in registration for this year's election.
Matthew Jurancic has more information.
With the presidential election a little more than 2 weeks away, voting has been a priority to everyone, especially in this year's election. Hamden Town Clerk Vera Morrison suggests that through these unprecedented times, voter registration absentee ballots have exceeded previous elections.
Our usual voter registration is around 33,000, and it's at 35,524 as of today. As far as the absentee ballots, the presidential year in 2016, we did 2,200. As of today, we've done 11,000 absentee ballots in about 6 weeks' time.
During these unprecedented times where people don't feel comfortable voting in person but still want to vote, Ms. Morrison suggested going to voterregistration.ct.gov, a direct link for helping you register to vote online. However, for first-year voters at Quinnipiac like Hannah Francisco, she wanted to experience her first time voting in person.
I was kind of very adamant about going in person just since this is my first time and I want to get the whole experience of it.
For students like Sarah Lopes, who plans to submit an absentee ballot, she feels that the state of Connecticut has dealt well with COVID-19.
I feel in Connecticut, the way we handle COVID in itself, I feel safe enough to go in person.
How important is your vote? Just ask Miss Morrison.
Until you actually go out and vote and make your voice heard, nothing is going to change.
Matthew Jurancic, Q30 News.
Well, that's all we have for tonight. We will be back next week with more news.
From myself, Jennifer, and everyone behind the scenes, thanks for watching tonight's newscast. Good night, Bobcats.